Hello everyone, Mark Major here. This is the Action Figuratorium. This is a story that I've been covering for months now, and it's getting to the point where I'm getting a bit salty in the mouth talking about it, but it's got so many twists and turns, and it does involve one of my favorite brands, Mini-Mates. I feel that I need to weigh in and talk about this stuff from time to time. I, of course, am talking about the ongoing saga, and it is a saga, people. It's like an Odyssey, and we're not at the end of the Odyssey yet. We're only at like the Cyclops or something right now. It's the story of the bankruptcy of Diamond Comics Distribution, which, of course, if you don't know, Diamond Comics Distribution is also part of a group of businesses that essentially own as an asset Diamond Select Toys. Diamond Select Toys makes Marvel Select and Mini-Mates, two very popular, very good brands that a lot of people love. Those are quality products, and they need your love, and they should get your love. They get my love. I love these products, people. I have a lot of Mini-Mates, and they're very cool. So I'm going to get into the most, it's just absolutely nuts what's going on here. The most recent update as to who is buying, who has won the bids, who is purchasing Diamond Comics Distribution, their assets, which includes Diamond Select Toys and, of course, Mini-Mates. And we're also going to clarify a few small details regarding the comic book industry itself. And as always, I'm going to stare into the abyss of Reddit and read a couple Reddit comments just to show you how totally out of touch people are with what is going on in this situation. So, and I think we're only going to spend 10 minutes on this, people. If we go longer than 10, I don't know. But I need you guys to come together, strap on the leather, and essentially hold on tight for this, okay? Here we go. Let me get you guys caught up on what the whole shenanigans are. There's this company called Diamond Comics Distribution. They distribute comic books. Now, here's a very important factor that I need to bring up first so that we can get to the Reddit comments. It's going to make sense. When COVID hit, Diamond Distribution said, we're not going to distribute comics during the lockdown. What happened was all the publishers who used them bailed. This would be DC Comics, kind of a big name, Marvel Comics, also kind of a big name, and then these smaller guys who actually are kind of a big name as well, such as Image, IDW, Dynamite, and I think probably we might as well throw Dark Horse in there. I haven't actually looked up to see if they're still being distributed by Diamond, but I'm pretty sure these guys all jumped ship, which means that Diamond Comics Distribution was distributing a bunch of very, very small, tiny, look, I'm going to come out and say it, in the big scheme of things, nobody, boutique publishers, and as a result, they declared bankruptcy. Why? Because they didn't really have any stock that anybody was selling. This is not necessarily true. They were actually kind of going back and doing Marvel and DC, but then they had to get them from a competitor who was created specifically to carry them. So it ended up being kind of ugly. The whole thing went to bankruptcy court. 11 different assets went up for sale, including some gaming companies, Gentle Giant, which is not the design studios, that's a different company, but Gentle Giant, the website store, Grading Authority went up for sale, Diamond Select Toys went up for sale, some UK distributing went up for sale. Another company that makes products or sells products for, you know, like little slip sleeves for like your trading card games and things like that, or just the plastic, you know, slip covers for comic books. Those guys went up for sale. All these little assets went up for sale. What happened was a company called Alliance Entertainment, right? Not to be confused with one of the assets, which was called Alliance Gaming, but Alliance Entertainment purchased them for about 80 some million dollars and change, maybe 81 to 85, somewhere in there. And this company actually makes its money by distributing records, okay? These are the guys that record stores buy their records from, but they also own a toy company that makes kind of Funko-esque tchotchke toys. They also, through their distribution, distribute other toy lines such as Lego and Funko Pops. So like if you're a record store, you could get like, hey, I'm going to order some new records. I'm going to get like the Beastie Boys on vinyl, and I'm going to get this new Beyonce cowboy record on vinyl. And then I'm going to get some Funko Pops. And they probably also had McFarlane, you know, Music Maniacs, because you can get an Iron Maiden Eddie or a Slash, and it looks cool in a record store. So these guys, Alliance Entertainment, ended up winning the bid. Okay, then something weird happened. Something extremely weird. Diamond Comics Distribution rejected the winning bid and decided to go with the second place bid. Why would you have an auction and then not take the bid? Don't know why they did that. But the people who put in the second bid was actually a conglomeration of two companies. It's essentially the company that owns NECA. So this is very important to note. You guys know who NECA is, right? So NECA Ad Populum is the company that owns them. And then this Canadian company called Universal Gaming, right? They got together. They merged into kind of a super Zord, right? And they put in a bid, and they were the second place bid, right? So Diamond says, we're not going to go with the first place bid. We're going to go with the second place bid. Okay, why would they do that? Now, there's a great podcast out there called Beyond Wednesdays. If you don't know about it, type it in, look it up, and just start following it. Watch them. Watch the Tuesday show. The Tuesday show has some old geezers that are kind of my age, maybe older. I don't think anyone's actually could be older, but these geezers on there who actually own comic book stores, and they do kind of an industry night, and they talk about the business. And these guys know more than me and you combined, okay? These guys have been in the business for a long time. They know what's up. They know how to make money. They have multiple stores, right? They know what's going on. They know how to pivot. They're going to survive. These guys are like the cockroaches of retail, okay? They are on the show Beyond Wednesdays on Tuesday night. And one of the guys, Dennis Barger, don't know if it's a French kind of thing going on there, if it's maybe it's a Germanic thing. But he said the reason why they, being Diamond Comics Distribution, would reject the top dog and go with the second dog was that maybe there's some type of corruption with the executives to where maybe they get some kind of a golden parachute, right? Maybe they get some kind of career advancement. Maybe they get some kind of kickback. Maybe there's some kind of collusion between them and the second place bidders, right? And so maybe that's why they did it. Anyways, the result was, and we're almost up to the juicy bit of the story, right? But we're up to the part where, so Alliance Entertainment then sues because they said, look, we won the bid, we're buying it, we're suing, we're blah, blah, blah. The judge says, okay, you got the winning bid, you pay them the money, you take the company. Okay, 2 weeks go by. And these weeks, don't know what's happening in these weeks, other than to say that a top dog at Alliance Entertainment, not the chairman, not the guy who went on the podcast and talked, but another guy, some other like president type spot, resigned, okay, and don't know if this is a part of it or not, but they, Alliance Entertainment, have now rejected the bid, meaning they're not buying it. They sued, they put in the most money, and then they sued to get the rights to buy, and then now they're rejecting it, okay. So no one knows why this is. It's not in the filing with the SEC. They haven't made any kind of PR statement. There's no kind of public things. There's no insider leaks as to why they did this. We don't know what it is. There's a lot of speculation. Some people think that maybe that they learned that the Diamond people were going to be hostile to them getting bought by Alliance, etc., that kind of thing. They really wanted to go with the other guys, and the Alliance Entertainment woke up to it. Or maybe they decided that Chinese tariffs are going to crush them, and they don't want this company because it's going to end up being a bad deal if this stuff that they're buying becomes extremely difficult to pay for and to make profit on. We're going to wait and see what happens to the reason why this went down, but we need to get into two things. We need to find out what we think is going to happen now to Diamond if it goes to the second place bidder, which would be the NECA people, right? That would mean NECA would now own Diamond Select. And then we also need to look at the reality, okay? I'm calling it the reality that comic book people do not seem to understand about Diamond Comics distribution. Let's cut over, shall we? Here we go. So, we're on Reddit. We're on comic books comments. Alliance Entertainment cancels its purchase. Here is a quote from Baba Yaga _711. Considering how little Alliance seemed to actually know about comics, it's true, they didn't really know about comics. I'm kind of relieved. Why would you be relieved? It would seem that Universal could buy it and everyone's happy, but there's a chance Universal might use this to try to lower their price, blah, blah, blah. They're not obligated to purchase at the bid. Okay, so let me tell you guys a little something. Oh, and then here's another comment from OK. Good for comic fans, but WTF, they sued for Diamond to accept their bid. Now there's, okay, good for comic fans. That's what I wanted to read. Okay, so let me explain to you guys a little something about this, right? Hold on, there's one more I got to read you guys. Here, it's this one. This is what I was looking for. All I know is that I am relieved it's not Alliance, who had no idea what Free Comic Book Day was and had a, but why would you give them away attitude towards it. Okay. So let me jump back in. Sorry for this sort of brain freeze here. Diamond Comic Distribution, the comic book section, has absolutely nothing. Okay, people? There's no like comics are saved, comics are... Those comic book publishers, DC, Marvel, Image, IDW, which is going to go out of business anyways, Dark Horse, Dynamite, they've all moved on. They still exist. They have different publishers. Diamond went out of business for a reason, because they had nothing. Someone buying Diamond doesn't save comics. Comics have already been saved, okay? It's Diamond that gets saved, but what would Diamond provide? Diamond would provide nothing other than they have a warehouse and they have some product in it, right? They could sell through the existing product. They could use the warehouse for distribution. There is nothing in the comic book section buying them that saves or has anything to do with comics. The comics thing has already moved off away from Diamond a long time ago. That's why they're bankrupt, okay? Stop thinking that anyone buying Diamond does anything to comics. The two, at this point, have absolutely nothing to do with each other. None of the major publishers use Diamond. Dead company. Dead man walking. All right, check this out. Free Comic Book Day. So there's a thing that Alliance Entertainment does called Record Store Day. Notice it doesn't say Free Record Store Day. Record Store Day. What is Record Store Day? Record Store Day is a day in which vinyl lovers go into record stores and buy records. That's what it is. They make special albums available for those days for people to buy. It is a day for consumers. It's a purchasing day. If you love vinyl records, that's the day you go out and you buy them, okay? This is why Alliance is still in business. Free Comic Book Day is a day in which you go out and you get a free product and you don't buy it. This is why Diamond Comics Distribution is bankrupt. Okay? Saying that someone gets it or doesn't get it, it's you who don't get it. You don't understand. Free Comic Book Day is shit. It doesn't make money per se. Yes, it's a marketing thing. You need to spend money to make money. if it's cheap enough to publish comic books to give them away in terms of marketing to bring in foot traffic, do it. But to pretend that Alliance are the dumb people when they're making money to the point where they can buy out the guys who don't know how to make money, it's you who is dumb. You're the stupid person, not Alliance, okay? So, two things. One, Diamond Comics distribution, already dead, had nothing, was never coming back, don't matter who buy it, there's no like relief there. Free comic book day, marketing gimmick, incapable of making money on its own. All it can do is further the sales of other comics. However, if you take away the sales of other comics, it's complete shit. All right, now, the last thing that we're going to talk about here is what happens to, like, say, Marvel Select, Mini-Mates, all the different things that Diamond Select Toys does. These guys are now going to get folded. If the deal goes through, they're going to get folded into NECA. What is NECA going to do with them? Well, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know. NECA has a lot of licenses. They make a lot of different product. They do like a lot of horror stuff, Universal. They do Ninja Turtle stuff. They do a lot of movie stuff. There's a lot of kind of crossover with the Mini-Mates and probably with the Marvel Select. My guess is that they're probably for a while going to let those guys, as long as they're profitable, run on their own. They're probably going to leave them alone. Of course, they're going to get rid of duplicate bureaucratic stuff. You don't need 2 HR departments. You don't need 2 accounting departments, right? You don't need all this kind of waste. So there are going to be layoffs. They will be removing some personnel. There's going to be some downscaling. They're going to eliminate some jobs. Some guys who worked at Diamond Select, higher up execs, will just automatically go into NECA. They'll get NECA jobs. They'll find themselves working on these NECA products and NECA lines. They'll probably steal some of the brain power, take some of the people off of this project, put them onto this project. They'll probably steal some guys from Diamond Select to use on the NECA lines, right? They'll probably take a couple guys from NECA who are like burnt out, and they're going to say, look, you're going to go run these companies, that kind of thing. There's a chance that they could close the stuff down. There's a chance that they could spin it off. I think immediately, though, because they're not sure exactly what their vision is, they're going to just let these other departments, right, run on their own as long as they're making money and they know what they're doing. It'll be a while before they figure out how they're going to rebrand and return them in, revitalize it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just like look at the numbers, look at the books and go, you know what, we don't need and we don't want and get rid of, and this is stupid, and that's the way it goes. So this is basically just one person's opinion so far of what I think is going to happen and what's going down with Diamond Select. But what do you think? I would love to hear all of your insider leaks, as they're probably more interesting than mine. So with that, thanks to everybody who made it this far into the episode. Much appreciated. Liking, subscribing. Your time, our time together, though. What are we going to do, people? We're going to stay charged.